Question 1161. In the light of other things that we ban in our society, how do we not justify... How can we justify not banning smoking outright?
Well, because of people's individual freedoms. I think everybody should have a freedom to do what they wish, as long as they're not harming anybody else. So I don't see banning it outright. I see banning the public use of it outright. Sure.
But my point was more a comparison. Given the things that we do ban, for example, weed. How do you justify not? There are things that are not banned that are much more, or there are things that are banned that are much less harmful. Yeah,
I mean, I even with weed, you know, I don't think that we should ban anything just because it has it's damaging. I mean, would you be okay with like banning extended time in the sunlight because we get cancer from the sun's radiation? You know, I don't think that's justified.
Ban the sun.
Ban the sun.
I think that maybe the nature of the inquiry is like, how come it's illegal to commit suicide by poisoning yourself or ODing on something, but you can do it real slow. You can kill yourself with a drug really slow over decades, and it's okay. So, because when you smoke, even smoking weed, you're damaging your body, permanent damage that could eventually kill you. So you're only allowed to kill yourself if you do it really, really slowly.
Same thing with the sun, yeah.
I took the question as to mean why don't we actually do it in reality? And the reality is that they won't do it because of A, the taxes that they bring in, and B, if you suddenly take that addiction away from so many people, there's going to be violence.
Yeah. I've seen my parents try to quit smoking, and they weren't great. Like every time they'd be like, I think we're gonna start quitting smoking. 'Cause we're talking to like somebody who grew up in a family where both my parents smoked 2+ packs a day inside the house, and every time they would say that they were going to give up smoking, instead of being excited like we should have been, we were scared for our lives because we knew what was coming next.
Well, banning cigarettes would have went over a lot better than prohibition.
Yes. Well, I mean,
would it?
Yeah.
I think it would.
Then we wouldn't have like the cool gangsters that we have today, though. So.
Well, you still have the gangsters who were importing tobacco or who were growing tobacco secretly. They'd have little smoke easies, where they could go get a little smoke.
I mean, you get your tobacco from the same place you got your weed.
Does anyone know the percentage of people who smoked at peak before it became fashionable to quit? I know now it's around 25-28%.
What are we talking about? Like tobacco?
Yeah.
Oh, probably not very much.
I mean, I think well over 50% of people must have smoked.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know a lot of people did it like as a coping mechanism, like soldiers, people who were traveling and things of that nature. But I know that it also wasn't as addictive. But I mean, you're probably right. It probably was more than 50%.
Well, they used to give soldiers, like a pack of cigarettes every day.
Like a ration.
I mean, assume it had to be after the Second World War. It had to be after the point at which we had mass conscription and cigarettes were provided, but also after women were encouraged to smoke.
I was going to say women.
Oh yeah.
Pop into existence.
I think you're talking like
no, women didn't smoke. It was a manly thing to do. It was literally, it all comes down to one advertising campaign. Because it was.
I don't think women smoking was allowed in the colonial times. I don't believe that would have been allowed.
No.
I know that my great grandmother, she chewed tobacco.
Yeah, but your great grandmother would be like at the oldest in the late 1800s.
Late 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah, that's a way different time than colonial times.
I know in the 50s there were still like doctors were still saying that, there were doctors that were still working with the ad campaign saying that they were smoking was good for you. So
I've
well.
smoked with doctors in the hospital.
Yeah, I think women were more into like cocaine and laudanum back in colonial times.
Sounds like a good time. Why not?
Maybe that was why they managed to, enjoy the level of shit.
That
Some
we
very
took.
good drugs. Yes.
You would mean enjoy. How
Oh,
about
tolerate might be a better word than
There you
enjoy there.
go. That's a better word than enjoy. I still don't enjoy the shit we take now.
Yeah, but I think if you add massive quantities of drugs, that shit situations can be tolerated slightly better.
That's why we take all the drugs. Stop taking them.
Dose
They're
the
for
country.
the women.
Right. Ox said, government won't ban one of the biggest tax money makers.
Yeah.
Antjer said, rather than ban things, maybe the right answer is to allow regulated things. Ox says, weed does not harm except making you fat from munchies. GSM says, ban breathing.
Yeah, bad breathing. Well, and there are carcinogens. I mean, you are burning organic material. I mean, there are carcinogens in cannabis. There's carcinogens in everything. It's whether or not there's an acceptable level of carcinogens.
Mm-hmm.
I think GSM wants to ban everything.
Well, you also can't smoke as much marijuana as you can cigarettes.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
if you're going
Right.
to ban it, if you're going to ban it solely on the grounds of it's bad for you, I mean, I don't think that's a justification to ban anything. But to say that it's bad for others, like secondhand smoke from like public smoking or in cars with children, then I'm all for that kind of legislature.
Yeah.
I
See,
agree with that.
I hate that thing with cars and children.
Yeah.
Anybody with half a brain knows that if you've got all four windows up and you crack one, all the air gets sucked out of there. So if you're smoking, all the smoke goes too.
I remember the first time that we moved out of one house to another in Louisiana, and we were taking things off the wall. And we had a huge Lord's Prayer on like a tapestry, and several family photos, and the walls were yellow. When we took the photos off, it left a white square where the photos were.
I grew up in a house like that too, Jim. You take stuff off the walls. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and when we went to clean the walls, it turned into like this tacky, gooey, like it was just this tar.
Yeah.
Hey.
My mom's windshield is still like that in her car. It's still got that yellow glaze on it. Yeah.
Well, that's good though, right? Like she runs out of cigarettes. She can just take a lick and be good for another hour or so.
When I had my shop in Milwaukee, we decided we were going to clean it from top to bottom, and ended up going through about 20 to 25 gallons of ammonia, because that was the only thing that would break down the nicotine scum on the walls and ceiling. The ceiling we turned out was white. It looked brown, and we had no clue it was white. It was so funny. Oh, but boy, did it get that place clean.
Yeah.
Just see my fan, because I have a German Shepherd Chow mix with long hair. So within 2 weeks' time, the blades on the fan, which is always going, is just completely black.
Yeah.
There's just so much fur everywhere. So, did you answer, Dave?
Say again?
Did
I
you
answer?
answer?
No, I think virtually everything should be legal. I think there is a grounds for taxing based upon the level of harm it does to society, which means that alcohol should probably be taxed a hell of a lot more.
What do you mean everything? Like, are you talking about like acts, or are you talking about just like substances?
I'm talking about anything. Well, from the point of view of that mostly just harms you. Pretty much any substance,
Anything that's noxious.
Yeah.
Yeah, so which tells me that they should be putting a big tax on Axe body wash or body spray. That stuff is horrible. Oh, what a horrible smell.
Well, I'm against like the prescribing of things that are harmful to other people, like the prescribing of opiates. Like I'm really against that. I mean, if a person wants to take opiates themselves, but to push it on people who aren't made aware of the dangers and are are given it as if it's the only option, I think that should be illegal completely.
Yes.
Well, the providers get a nice kickback for prescribing certain medications.
Sure.
But again,
So-
opiates are one of those things that are dirt cheap to make. If you had a market that was unregulated in that sense, and they couldn't mark it up massively, I think the opiate problem may well fix itself. I'm not sure. Ox says tax sugar.
On the opiate, though. I mean,
Tax what?
Sugar.
Tax sugar. There was a sugar tax.
California's doing that.
What's that?
California did that, didn't they?
Yes, I think it was California.
I think we might
San Francisco. They taxed drinks with sugar in them.
considering the amount of sugar that the American public consumes, I mean, it's in everything. I don't think that's horrible. I think it would either, get us more money or even better, lessen the amount of sugar in our fucking food.
Yeah,
Look
it
at
would
the
definitely
ketchup label.
incentivize companies to take the healthier route.
Mhm.
Look at a ketchup bottle label sometime. See what position sugar is on the ingredients list.
Look
Yep,
at just
or a
fucking
barbecue sauce.
white bread.
Sure, yeah.
They put sugar in white bread. Like,
White people.
Oh yeah. You normally put sugar in bread because that's what the yeast eats.
The yeast have some sort of food, and
Yeah.
sugar is like the easiest thing to just in order to mass produce bread. It's easiest to do on a large scale.
And in a whole loaf of bread, there's only like one teaspoon and a half of sugar.
We always come back to the yeast.
Uh-huh.
Nerdy in the audience here.
I hate yeast.
Wait, no, take the segue elsewhere.
No, yeah, I know. I feel like I'm learning stuff.
Uh-oh.
No, that's not allowed. I'm just about to break.
Brian Stevens has a good question. He says, "Critical Cripple, are you doing the chair dance or do you need to pee?"
No, that's a steal
on
on the
a
ball.
yoga ball.
He's on a bouncy ball.
No, I'm sure you meant pogo ball.
He's actually multitasking. He's actually casting a part as the red bouncing ball in the Winnie the Pooh cartoons. Like,
He has a bounce counter to see how many bounces before it pops.
Before it
Being
pops.
I have other theories.
If you haven't seen the popped video,
I need to see that.
This is my
Somebody
second ball.
Somebody put the pop video in the chat for me,
Yeah.
please. I hear good things.
We have enough mods on this channel. I think someone can find it.
I haven't seen it.
Somebody was there.
Top
Give me the date.
Oh, that is what you're doing when you're done here, Jim. It is hilarious.
If you enjoyed that, please hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down. If you think you've got a better answer or just want to tell us how wrong we are, leave a comment down below. Subscribe down here for new questions every day and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on our live shows. If you click over here, you'll see our latest upload. Over here, for what YouTube thinks you'll love the most. And finally, for a complete playlist of all our currently released questions, click here.